This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another Bring the Juice Colts podcast live stream. Thank you all so much for tuning in on this beautiful Tuesday evening, hot Tuesday evening. Cody, how freaking hot is it down there in near Muncie, man? How freaking hot is it down there?
It was, so I just came from practice actually, and it was mid-90s, I'd say at this point. I guess right now it was midnight. It's 91 right now.
Yeah, but they said with the heat index, it feels like it's like high 90s right now.
Yeah.
So
Yep, it definitely is.
It's not a great day to be outside if you're doing any kind of physical activity right now.
Yeah.
So definitely a crazy day. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Just want to say again, guys, this stream is powered by BetUS. If you guys are looking for a new sports book this off season and during the football season, look no further than BetUS. But guys, also the Bring the Juice podcast is part of the Roundtable Sports Network. I'm going to show you guys a quick video of where you guys can find us.
Roundtable Sports Network brings you NFL divisional debate coverage on a weekly basis from your favorite content creators across YouTube, featuring the AFC East Roundtable live Monday and Wednesday evenings, the AFC South Roundtable live Tuesdays at 7 p.m. EST, the NFC South Roundtable live Tuesdays at 7 p.m. EST, the NFC West Roundtable live Tuesdays at 9 p.m. EST, the AFC West Roundtable live Tuesdays at 9 p.m. EST, the NFC North Roundtable live Wednesdays at 6 p.m. EST, the AFC North Roundtable live Wednesdays at 6 p.m. EST, the NFC East Roundtable live Thursdays at 6 p.m. EST. Roundtable Sports, real coverage from real fans.
That's right, guys. We're part of the Roundtable Sports Network every Tuesday at 7 p.m. EST. Bring the Juice is part of the AFC South Roundtable. So make sure tonight, guys, it's actually right after this stream. I'm heading over there to do that. So if you guys are in here right now and you guys are watching this stream, make sure after this you go to the AFC South Roundtable on YouTube. You go and subscribe, and you also go in there and chat it up and help support me as I take on some AFC South content creators. But again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like button, guys. Helps it get out to more and more people. Be sure to like the stream, guys. Be sure to comment. Be sure to subscribe. But we're going to hop into this 53-man roster. I kind of looked at it already. I didn't fully go into it yet. Cody's just now looking at it as we speak. So we'll go ahead and we'll hop into this, Cody, and we'll kind of just break this down position by position, just seeing what we want here. So top three quarterbacks, Anthony Richardson, Joe Flacco, Sam Ehlinger. Guess it's not a surprise, but I think I was hoping Jason Bean would make it. What say you?
Yeah, but we didn't really expect it, to be fair. So I'm hoping I have it. Obviously, I'm kind of just looking at this now. So hopefully he is back on the practice squad. But not, I mean, this is probably the least surprised I've been at a position group. So not super shocked at it. We know the Colts, they like Sam Ehlinger a lot. Obviously, nobody's taking Joe Flacco's backup spot. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty like as expected, I suppose, here.
All right. Like I said, guys, no surprises there. Running back room. So the Colts only kept 3 running backs, and that was running back Jonathan Taylor, Trey Sermon, and Tyler Goodson gets the nod on the third running back spot. So Evan Hall is going to be cut. I would presume the Colts are going to do their absolute best to try to keep him on the practice squad, barring some kind of injury. Also met guys like Xavier Scott and a few others also got cut here. I mean, Cody, no surprise here at the first and second, but Tyler Goodson gets the nod. What do you think about that?
I mean, to be honest, I had Tyler Goodson over Evan Hall at this point, just because I feel like, Goodson can do some stuff out of the backfield, and he showed he had a really strong preseason, let's be honest. So I'm not super, I thought they'd keep 4, so I'm shocked at the number they kept. A little bit surprised there, but yeah, I think that's the top 3 pecking order I would keep, Derek. I'm not too shocked about the 3. And so maybe it does happen where Evan Hall does get clear waivers and comes back. But I think, honestly, out of the 2, Goodson looked better, to be honest with you, this preseason.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say, yeah, like you said, with the only being 3 and not 4, definitely a surprise there for me. But I'm not shocked by Tyler Goodson. I will say I'm like actually disgusted by the amount of people that I even saw. Like, I know you don't read our comments, which is a good thing that you don't, because you tend to get a little bit more emotional about it than me. But I'm gonna have an emotional moment here. I saw a guy commenting in our comment section saying that Goodson is selfish for the way that he ended the season last year, and now has the possibility of taking Evan Hall's spot. Like, apparently he's selfish. I don't know how it's selfish to accidentally make a mistake, but apparently making a mistake nowadays is selfish, Cody, I guess.
Well, Derek, I have been reading a little bit. I saw one that said something similar to that, where it was basically saying that Tyler Goodson's trash and that he should not be near an NFL roster because of one mistake. I'm like, come on, guys. He made a mistake. It was a critical, obviously magnified mistake. But again, like, he still had moments last year where I thought he looked very good as kind of that 3rd, 4th running back. And he looked strong this preseason. So I'm not going to hold it over his head as much as some people might, because it made a mistake. It happens. Unfortunately, it was in like the most critical time. And so that's why it's magnified. But Derek, if it was any other routine play and it didn't cost you the game, like, we wouldn't be talking about it. So,
right. And Paul Wilson even saying it right there is like, wait, that was also a terrible throw from Minshew. Exactly. Context matters, ladies and gentlemen. And don't worry, there will also be some injuries this year on the running back front. We know this for a fact. It always happens. So Evan Hall will definitely get some snaps at some point this year. Don't worry. All right, let's move to the wide receivers. And honestly, Cody, I think it went exactly the way you and I thought it would.
Yep.
Pittman, Pierce, Adonai Mitchell, Anthony Gould, Ashton Doolin, and Josh Downs. So, that's about the 6 what we thought it would be.
Yeah, no shock there. You know what Gould does, obviously, in the return game, and then Ashton Doolin more of that gunner on special teams. So that's why I think they made the roster over guys like, as much as we like Laquan Treadwell, as much as we like DJ Montgomery, like, they didn't play special teams. And that's what matters. If you're going to be on the back end of the roster, you got to do something. You got to contribute in some way, right? And so, no, I'm not shocked at all by that. Not at all.
All right. Well, the 4 tight ends that made it. Molly Cox, Kylan Granson, Will Mallory, Drew Ogletree, easy ones that we all expected. But Cody, I think the bigger news was what happened with Jelani Woods today.
Yep.
And the Colts are placing him on season-ending PUP, basically the IR. So he is now going to be out for the 2024 season. So that is now 2 seasons in a row that Jelani Woods will now be missing, along with teammate Daniel Scott, who also now is also in that same boat. Sucks, man. Sucks to see. We were holding out on the potential that Jelani Woods might be able to come back this year, maybe get a couple snaps at the end of the year, maybe figure something out. But no, his season ended before it even got going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it just sucks. It's a bummer for Jelani Woods, but at this point, Derek, you can't wait on him. Yeah, you have 4 very capable tight ends here. So as much as it sucks, it's like, if Jelani can't stay healthy, then he's not a help to this team. And it just sucks, but it is what it is,
Absolutely. All right. So the offensive line, and this is the first little bit of a shocker here, Cody. And the Colts kept 10 offensive linemen this time around.
They did.
So you and I were talking about it in the roster cut potential. Like, do the Colts keep 9 or do they keep 10? This time they kept 10. So they obviously have their starters at Bernard Ryman. You have Quentin Nelson. You have Ryan Kelly. You have Braden Smith. You also have Will Fries. But you also kept Tanner Bortolini. You kept Blake Freeland. You kept Matt Gonsalves. You kept Danny Pinter. And my guy, they kept Dalton Tucker. Cody, I think you said that was the one where you thought the Colts would make it the easiest to cut throughout this if they were going to cut anyone. But Dalton Tucker edges his way into the backup rotation. What do you think of the 5 guys who made it as backups?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the question that it raises is how serious is that Tanner Bortolini injury? I mean, that's my biggest question is like, does that indicate like he might be out a little longer? It might linger into the regular season a little bit because 10's a pretty big number. I mean, let's be real. I mean, I don't think they'll keep 10 throughout the course of the season. So maybe they're just keeping, Dalton Tucker on there for insurance policy. And then, when Bortolini does return, maybe that's when the Colts decide to move him to practice squad. But yeah, so we're not super shocked by that, but that is kind of my big question that it raises.
Yeah, it's crazy because they've kept 3 interior offensive linemen and 2 outside offensive linemen at the tackles. So definitely a little bit of a shock there, but
they kept 3 in the interior, which is crazy.
Yep.
But depending on Bortolini, it could be 2. So to start the season.
Yes, it just all depends. But anyways, we'll go ahead and keep moving along here. Defensive line. We've also kept 10. Yep. So here is the starters. DeForest Buckner. You obviously have Grover Stewart. You have Kwity Paye. And you have Laiatu Latu. But then you also have Dio Adangbo making his way in. Tyquan Lewis is in there as well. Raekwon Davis, Taven Bryan, Adetomiwa Adebawari, and rounding it out is Isaiah Land. So let's talk about this for a second here, Cody, because there's a couple different things here that are shocking. First things first, your reaction to seeing Taven Bryan still on the roster.
I know a lot of people hate Taven Bryan, and I understand why. But Derek, we talked about this even in our predictions. We said, does he look a little bit better? Maybe at that 3 tech a little bit more, like as opposed to the 1 tech where, yes, he's not good at all. Also, that does raise the question, Raekwon Davis, where's he at? Where's he at? I know he's activated, but does he have to get into some game shape a little bit? So, yeah, I don't love that, keeping him over a guy and we'll talk about some other guys that could have that did get cut, but potentially did it. And maybe that still is a move that isn't coming. But yeah, I mean, I don't hate it, but I don't like it,
Okay. Well, the 2 guys that we were kind of looking at to see if they would make it on this roster this year, and that was Adetomiwa and Isaiah Land.
Yes.
Adetomiwa and Isaiah, who both had really strong preseasons, and they round out the last bit of this group here. Your reaction to those 2 guys making it at the very end?
They deserve it, man. Well-deserved, strong camps and preseasons from both these guys. I think Derek Adetomiwa, for me, is the one that's most exciting to see because we needed him. You needed him to step up and kind of take the reins as that backup 3 tech. You needed him because we knew the athleticism was there for Adetomiwa. A lot of people love that pick when the Colts made it. So you needed him to take a big year 2 jump. And so far, so good for him. And then Isaiah Land, obviously a guy that the Indianapolis Colts loved, Derek. When they signed him, I think he was a former 6th-round pick at Dallas a couple years ago. And the Colts got him last year. And he played some snaps for them, in spurts and had some nice moments. So I love to see that he's earning his way onto this roster, Derek. I think this is the one position at defensive end that I honestly, Derek, I love every single player really on this defensive line outside of Taven Bryan. I pretty much am I am on board with these guys being on the roster. There's nobody there except for Bryan that I'm I would have cut. I mean, I think it's a great situation. And also, Derek, I'll just add this as well, because I don't think we talked about this yet. The Indianapolis Colts, speaking of defensive end, they put Samson Ebukam on IR with a designation to return. So maybe a long shot, but could Ebukam return in December or January if the Colts make the playoffs? He could.
Yeah, that is definitely going to be a major driving factor into whether or not we see him back. That would be great to see Samson Ebukam back in late December or early January, just depending on the severity of the injury. We'll see what happens. But before we go any further into this, guys, we're going to finish this up, but we want to say that, again, this stream is powered by BetUS, guys. BetUS has a 125% sign-up bonus up to $2,000, guys, on your first 3 deposits. How could you possibly turn that down, guys? It has some of the best live wagering and best betting varieties out there, guys. This isn't just a site where you guys can, just do bets on, games and whatnot. There even are some very interesting ones. Like I have one right here, Cody, and that is NFL season most points. Now, let's just say for all intents and purposes, we think that something crazy could happen here where the Indianapolis Colts offense just absolutely skyrockets, right? Let's just say the Colts offense goes absolutely bonkers this year, plus 3,300 to be able to get first in points, guys. I mean, look, if you're a betting man, you put $10 in there, it's a $330 win. I mean, that is a huge, huge bet there, guys. And, honestly, that is such a good bet. I might even potentially go higher than that at another point, but that is definitely something I am going to put in there, guys, to be able to see if we can win that one out. But guys, be sure to check out BetUS today. Again, a 125% sign-up bonus up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits. Get signed up today, guys.
Yep.
All right, let's continue. Linebackers. They kept 5, and Cody, was pretty much the 5 that we thought they were going to. Yep. Carlisle, Franklin, Alubi, EJ Speed, Stewart. I mean, are we surprised by this at all?
Not surprised at all. So another position, Derek, where it's cut and dry. We're like 90% sure this is how it's going to shake out. So no, not at all.
All right.
Derek, the one thing I'm interested in. Sorry, go on to
go
talk
ahead.
about this. It's actually about this next position. So go on and talk about it.
So with the cornerback room, this is interesting here, Cody, because there is only 5 on here. So we are only carrying 5 corners, at least right now. So you have Kenny Moore, Juju Brents, Jalen Jones, Dallas Flowers, and Daryl Baker. Now that'll be interesting because, again, like the Colts, they're going to have a bunch of guys on the practice squad ready to go, but I do find it crazy that the Colts only have 5 active cornerbacks on the roster. I mean, what's your response, Cody, to the Colts only having these 5 guys?
I was shocked that Micah Abraham got cut. That was my biggest shock, I think, because I'm like, Derek, you cut your 2 backup nickels. Like, who's going to be the nickel? I don't really know what the answer is right now, And maybe that's just a situation where he's back on practice squad and you add him back later. But yeah, I'm a little bit surprised the Colts did what they did at corner. Now, Derek, to my point here, you kept 5 corners. We'll talk about the 4 safeties as well that you kept. But I have a feeling, Derek, that if there's a waiver claim the Colts are going to make, I would think it'd become in the DB room, because there's a lot of DBs that got released, like a lot of corners that got released, that got cut in the final 53 man. So I don't know. I have a feeling it could be a situation if the Colts make any, big claims, it could be at corner.
Yeah, your guy Micah Abraham didn't quite make it the way that we thought that he might.
Yeah, I know. It's a bummer, but I'm hoping he stays with the team in some capacity. Also, some people thought Jalen Simpson would make it. He did not either. So that's interesting.
I didn't think he would make it. So
yeah, some people
right.
said Ime and Mike A would be the last two.
Only 4 safeties, which we kind of expected, and it's pretty much the 4 safeties we thought. Julian Blackman, Nick Cross, Trevor Denbo, Rodney Thomas II. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, pretty much expected at this point. Yeah, not shocked.
And then your special teams, which rounds out your 53-man roster, and that's Matt Gay, Luke Rhodes, and Rigoberto Sanchez. So
yep,
that is the 53-man roster for the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, Cody, what's the biggest surprise that you have from that?
I mean, I think the corner, I think Micah Abraham not making it. Like, I thought either him or Lamons would be one of the guys that made it. Neither of them making it was kind of surprising. And then I think, Derek, the other one for me was probably them only keeping 3 running backs. Those are probably my 2 biggest surprises.
Yeah, the 3 running backs definitely was a definite shock. I would say to keep 10 offensive linemen and 10 defensive linemen definitely is a tiny bit of a shock. Colts typically, at least one of those position groups typically has one less than the other.
Yeah.
But here we are. With both of these.
I think it could just be like some uncertainty at a few, like Raekwon Davis and Tanner Bortolini, like just to keep it safe until you feel like they're ready to go, 100%.
Right.
So, yeah, it's kind of more like if we need to in the regular season, we can. If not, we'll probably make the cut there and, add to another position.
Yep, absolutely. All right. What else are we going to be looking at here, man? What do we want to talk about real quick?
Well, I'm just going to say, like I said, there's a lot of guys that got cut at the DB position. One of the guys, Derek, and we'll probably have a video coming out with some of the names that could potentially, be available for Indy that they might want to consider potentially. One of those guys, Derek, for me, is Keenan Isaac. He's a cornerback that was released by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's only 24 years old. He's a zone corner, plays in that cover 3. He had a 91.2 PFF coverage grade in the preseason and also had an interception. And he just got cut because I think it was just a numbers game, Derek. So he's a guy that I would love for the Indianapolis Colts to get for depth purposes. I think that would be a great find for them. And there's multiple other corners. I mean, I know a lot of people like Caleb Farley, but former first-round pick, Derek. I'm always a sucker for that. I know Caleb Farley hasn't been good. Don't get me wrong. But I'm always like, man, kick the tires on a young former first-round pick. I don't know. Like, I'm always in that. I'm always intrigued, even if it is kind of a downfall sometimes. And there's other corners, too. I'm not saying sign Caleb Farley, but there's other corners, too, that I think are good. Some young DBs or even some veterans out there that I think the Indianapolis Colts could add into their room in some capacity. I think if I'm choosing, Derek, some positions I could see the Colts adding, obviously corner, maybe safety. I would say also maybe another swing tackle, because even though they kept Blake Freeland, maybe they could look to upgrade there. Wouldn't be surprised at all if Indianapolis looked to add another running back as well onto their roster. Those would be kind of the positions I would be looking at specifically, Derek, especially because I feel like the interior of that offensive line is pretty set right now. I don't feel too much like you need to add there. It's more like the tackle position for me. Any other positions that you're looking at, Derek, that you think the Colts could afford to add to? I don't really think like there's a lot.
As far as like what would add to the total group of like collective value, I'm not entirely sure. Like you said, maybe tight end, maybe when it comes to the secondary, but like, the thing is like, for one, like this roster's so young, and we know that Ballard has been preaching about this young unit to be able to find collectiveness with each other. So I just don't see a scenario in which Ballard's going to go make a move in picking up some of these cut players when, like there's so many different things that could happen, but we've seen that the Colts just don't do anything with them. I mean, we've seen it so many times over and over again that Ballard has had opportunities to improve areas and he hasn't, because he wants to try to have this unit gel together. And so, I mean, I don't see a scenario in which there's a lot of other things, or he'll just find somebody that's going to be like third or fourth on the depth chart, and it's not going to matter in the long term.
I'm not saying get a starter. I'm just saying adding some more depth into that position, I wouldn't be upset at all. I'm not looking for anybody to be a starter or really even compete for a starting spot. I'm just looking for some quality depth in here. And I think those are the positions you can afford to add some more depth to potentially.
Oh, 100%. I definitely think it could be.
And I feel like he's found some guys that have contributed in the past. Like, it's not like they never do anything on waiver claims. I mean, they found a couple guys, in previous years, Derek, that have come in and actually played decent roles for them. So I wouldn't rule it out. I know he hasn't done a whole lot, but I don't know, man. Now you kind of have an idea what your roster looks like. You can't use we're in evaluation stage now because you kind of know at this point, So maybe that kind of pushes them to make a move. I'm hopeful. I'm not expecting it, but you never know, man.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I think that's going to do it for this one, guys. Again, just want to say shout out to BetUS for making this stream happen. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be sure to check out BetUS today. Also, guys, again, please make sure you go over to the AFC South Roundtable right now on YouTube and watch and help support me as I help take on some other AFC South content creators on Roundtable Sports. Please go check that out, guys. Thank you again so much for all the support lately, guys. We greatly appreciate it. We are on the way to 19,000 subscribers. We're nearly there. There. We just got to get a little bit more. But we appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you. Jarvis, I see you, man. Sorry to see you come in so late, but go ahead, hop into the roundtable one. But guys, we'll be back with some more content. Don't worry. Football only a week and a half away from now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And as always, guys, go Colts.
This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.